Hey, it's Mo. Very, very glad you're here with me. I love to talk about makeup. It's just kind of my thing. Don't know why. And I love that you just hang out and do that with me. I think it's really cool. Today, it's July favorites, and I tried a fair number of things this month, and I've kind of whittled it down to the things that I think are my favorite. Most of them are new products. I think one is a rediscovery, not really a rediscovery as much as I keep meaning to re-buy this, repurchase this, and I forget. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, there's like one random thing that I just use every day that I thought I would show you. So that's kind of the extent of it. Mostly makeup, of course, that's my thing. So I am going to start with the thing that I started the month off with, and just loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I still love it. It is from Essence, and it is the Blush Lighter Gradient Powder Blush, specifically in the color Nude Twilight. I love this blush. It's what I have on. Oh, and I should note that I had fully intended to film this earlier in the day. It's like mid-afternoon, and I didn't get to it. You know, life got in the way. So my makeup's been on for like 6 hours, 7 hours. So not freshly applied, if that makes a difference to you. But anyway, here is the blush, and you can see it's like, it is a gradient, basically what they say. So it's not exactly, it's not like a split pan where it's like, here's blush, here's highlighter. It's a little more of a gradient than that. And the shimmer isn't just shimmer, like it's also got some of that blush color in there. And this is really warmer typically than my preferred kind of shade. I usually go for like something more pink or more mauve. But I just love the effect this gives on the cheek. I wish they had more colors. There is one other color, and I do have that. It's more peachy, and for some reason that one doesn't seem to show up on me as much anyway. This is the one I really like, this Nude Twilight. I like the way it looks. It ends up looking like a shimmery blush. Not so much like I have blush and then highlight. It's a really nice blend, and this was, I should have looked it up, but you know, it's Essence, which is absolutely a drugstore price. It's probably under $4. So really, really a big fan of that. That one was an absolute, no questions asked, favorite that I was using the majority of July until I started testing something else. Let's do the rediscovery. Again, not so much a rediscovery as like, oh, I keep meaning to repurchase that and I forget. And it's from NYX, and it is their glitter primer. I always mean to get like some kind of sticky primer when I'm using shimmers and glitters and that kind of thing, and I always forget to buy one. I don't know. So I actually remembered on my like Target drive-up order that I would get get one of these, and I did, and it really, for me at least, really does make an impact on the staying power of shimmers and glitters, and even how they apply on the lids. Like today's a good example of the difference it makes for me. I'm sure that's not true for everyone, but for me it really does make a difference to use a sticky primer. I don't use it all over. So what I do is just put down my normal Milani eyeshadow primer that I use every single day, and do kind of more of the matte, you know, color application. And then wherever I'm going to put shimmer, then I'll put the more sticky primer, in this case the NYX glitter primer, on that part of the lid, and then I apply the shimmer or the glitter or the metallic or whatever it is. I wanted to talk about something completely pedestrian and not sexy, but something I really like is Okeeffe's lip repair. I've certainly seen this around. I tend to see guys using this, or in my experience. I think it's, I don't know, maybe they make it look more guy friendly or something, I don't know. In any case, the reason that I specifically purchased this, also with my Target order, is because it has SPF in it. I try to wear SPF on my lips anytime I'm outside. But since I'm working from home and I'm working near this big window actually, I'm getting, you know, sun exposure every day. So of course I wear sunscreen on my face, but I also try to wear sunscreen on my lips. And my very favorite holy grail lip sunscreen has apparently been discontinued. It was the Paula's Choice lip balm with SPF 50. I've never found a better sunscreen than that for my lips. It had no taste, no flavor, excellent formula, but it appears to be gone. So I had to find a replacement. And this surprised me. It is not fragrance free, unfortunately, but I don't get any, why am I doing that? I don't have it on my lips. But it does have a fragrance. It has a fragrance, but I don't taste it. But it's a pleasant fragrance for what that, it's not heavily fragranced. It's kind of a, I don't know, it's a soft citrus, so it's not sharp, but it's kind of a more mellowed citrus, maybe a little bit orange. But SPF 35 is pretty good, and it's surprisingly difficult to find lip products with sun protection in them, certainly more sun protection than SPF 15. So I like the formula of this, and I love the fact that it has SPF 35. So if you happen to be like me and you like something that has sunscreen in it and it's a lip product, I really recommend this one. I'm using it every day, basically. Something that surprised me in a good way was the Wander Beauty Unlashed mascara. This is a mini. I had mentioned this in a Sephora haul that I had done a little while back. And at the time I said, I think it's going to be a like, it's not going to be a love, you know, it's that kind of thing. It has a really interesting looking brush. You can see it's kind of twisty curvy. And for me, it took me a couple tries to kind of get used to that brush. But I will say I used this a lot in July, and then later in the month I was trying other mascaras, you know, because I'm frequently testing things. And I was like, I don't really like this one. This one's not great. This one's not great. And I'm like, I really wish, didn't I have a good mascara? And I was like, oh yeah, it's the Unlashed. And I'm wearing it today. I like the formula, I like the brush. So it surprised me because I thought it would be kind of a like, not a love, but it turns out it's one of my favorites. And so that is always great. Like, it's easy to be like disappointed, right? It's surprised in that way, but it's not as easy to be like surprised in a good way, and that did it for me. Something that I have been using ever since really, you know, people started sheltering in place and whatever, quarantine, whatever you want to call it. First of all, I've always done my own nails. I think maybe I had a manicure one time, but I've always done my nails since I was really a little kid. And I am absolutely enamored with the Essie Expressi line of nail polishes. I love these. I have used these now for 4 months, and I have more colors than this. But these are the 3 that I picked out as being kind of my top 3 favorites. Air dry, I really love when my nails are short like they are now. It's like a slate blue. I really, really like this shade. This one's a relatively recent addition. Get a mauve on. I'm a pretty big fan of purpley mauvey whatever. But this one had a nice depth to it. This one is really the one that surprised me. I don't typically like pale nail shades. They kind of just disappear on me. This one works perfectly for me. It almost looks like I've extended the length of my fingers, which is kind of an elegant look. And the name of it is Crop, Top, and Roll. Great names too. I have kind of ridgy nails. You can't see it very well right now because my nails are done, but I have like those, you know, actual ridges, and this makes them look smooth and pretty. And for me, these last about 5 days without any chips. So, I mean, I really, really like this nail polish. Of course, today is the one day I'm not wearing it because I'm testing something else. But with the exception of today, I've been wearing it literally for months, that line of polish in a variety of colors. I totally love it. This is something I have not talked about on my channel. It is a bronzer, actually. I'm not a huge bronzer person. I've mentioned that before. But this is from Buxom. It was new for the summer, and this is their Staycation Vibes Primer Infused Bronzer. The reason this interested me is because I love the little primer infused blushes that Buxom did 2 years ago, I think. So I thought I would give this a try, and I do like this. I like both colors, actually. There's Rooftop Tan and Backyard Bronze. This is Rooftop Tan. I don't see a huge difference between the outer ring and the inner ring. Like, I just kind of blend it all together, but for your sake, I will swatch the 2 of them separately. So this is outer, this is inner. That didn't swatch very well. it goes on better than that. But what I like the formula, first of all. I think it blends really nicely. And what I really like about this particular shade, Rooftop Tan, is that for me, it's got, I don't know if you probably can't see it since I'm not comparing it to anything, but it's got almost a rosy undertone. Not like red. Like some people like that red kind of sunburn kind of undertone. This is more pink leaning, actually, which is closer to the way that my skin would tan if I ever allowed any sun to get on it. But it looks pretty natural on me. It's the bronzer that I have on today. Now, what I will say about this, though, even though it's a favorite, here's the part that's not the favorite. This is only 4 grams. 4 grams of bronzer. That is highly unusual. Most bronzers are like 8-ish. The new Charlotte Tilbury is something like, I don't know, 16 grams or something. That's huge. But this is teeny. And the thing is, when you look at it, if you just held it up, or if you're just eyeballing it now, it probably looks about the size of like, you know, the e.l.f. primer infused bronzer or any other bronzer you'd see. But the thing is, the packaging, this heavy acrylic packaging, is very deceptive. It looks much larger than it is. I mean, I have to assume, because it's only 4 grams, that this pan must be quite shallow, because the diameter isn't that different than most bronzers, but the actual amount you're getting is not that much. So that is one complaint I absolutely have about this, is that you get such a small amount. You know, a lot of people really go through bronzer quickly, and I think they might be surprised and disappointed to know that this was, you know, $30-ish for only 4 grams. So I did want to mention that, because I do think I thought it was a little deceptive in the packaging and stuff. Let's talk eyeshadow, shall we? This will not come as a surprise, I don't think, if you were here this month. Natasha Denona Bronze. I gave it a glowing review. Glowing. And I have not had great luck with Natasha Denona, but this palette has made me very, very happy. So here it is. If you've not seen it, I'm sure you have. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. I know they're not revolutionary. I know there's nothing like, you're like, yeah, it's copper, it's bronze, it's whatever. For some reason, I love this. In fact, after I'd reviewed it, you know, I have to move on to other things because I'm testing other things, and I was like, but I want to use Natasha Denona again. I want to use the bronze palette. And I certainly will. But yeah, absolutely love this. I give my full recommendation to this palette. Really love it. Big love for July. The other eyeshadow palette, this one is a little tricky for me. And this is why I don't do first impressions, because I have gone back and forth on this Violet Voss palette. I have heard nothing about this. It's new. It's called Sakura Blossom. My heart went to this immediately, so I've never mentioned, I don't believe, but I lived in Japan for a year of my life. And, you know, it had a big impact on me. I absolutely loved being there. Sakura, by the way, just means cherry blossom. So it's funny to me that they call it like Sakura Blossom, because it's like saying cherry blossom blossom. But anyway, so that's what drew me to it initially. I like the name. I love cherry blossoms. And I liked the color story when I saw it. So there's the colors. Now, there's a whole lot of people, maybe you, probably you, who are like, yeah, that's a little too pink for me. I totally, totally appreciate and get that. I enjoy pink, actually. Not always, but I thought, oh, there's enough neutral in here and there's enough finishes and that kind of thing that I would probably like it. It's what I have on today, by the way. I should have mentioned that. But I have gone back and forth on the formula in this thing. At first I was like, I don't know, it's kind of a different formula. And the only other Violet Voss I have is one of the minis. I think it's the mini HG palette. And even that one, I was like, okay, I know people talk about Violet Voss, but I'm not sure I get her vibe. Not like her aesthetic vibe, but like the formula vibe. So I was kind of vacillating on this one because I felt like, truthfully, all the looks that I've gotten out of this, and I've used this a bunch of times, I feel like every look I've gotten I've enjoyed, but in a way I felt like I kind of had to work kind of hard. But the more time I've spent with it, I think the more accustomed I am to the formula. I'm just gonna swatch a few of these for you. That feels really nice too. And some of these are certainly pressed pigments, which probably doesn't come as a great shock. Those reds and those pinks are often just pressed pigments as opposed to eyeshadow, and so therefore, at least in the United States, are not considered eye safe. Generally that's because they can stain the skin, and in some people they can cause a reaction, so do be aware of that. But so there's some swatches of some of the shades. It took me a little while. I felt like, do these work? Do these not work? Are they patchy? Are they blending away? Are they not? Are they too hard to blend? Like I was having some kind of mental breakdown about about this palette. Of course I'm being facetious, but in the end, after much trying, I've decided that I really do like the formula. And there's really a variety of the kind of the glimmery, glittery shades that go kind of from, you know, a kind of a traditional shimmer, and then there's this one's a bit more chunky kind of thing, and like this is not a pressed glitter. None of them are pressed glitters. I don't wear those, but they're, you know, here, let me just show you. And this was one place that NYX glitter primer really came in handy, was using this palette. But truthfully, every look I've done, I have enjoyed. And for me, it was worth the time to figure out, okay, how does this work best? And I'm so glad that I didn't give that an abrupt review. I'm glad that I waited. I'm glad that I continued to work with it and figure out, yes, I really do consider this a favorite for July. I wore it a ton. But I totally get, particularly Color Story, or if this isn't your formula, that maybe it's not a favorite for you, but I really sincerely enjoyed that in the end, right? After all my trying. Let's talk about a random thing. I don't know. This is from, do you know Invisibobble? Invisibobble is like the twisty little thing you can put in your hair, but they make a scrunchie that they actually call a Scrunchie. So it's got an Invisibobble inside, and this is velvet. I wear this essentially every day because I do leave my hair down quite a bit, but when I want to pop it up, you know, whatever. I'm not a hair person, I said that before. This is really nice for me, and obviously I have wavy hair, and it's relatively thick, and sometimes it's hard, like in a scrunchie or something, to keep it on top of a messy bun, like on top of my head. This thing will hold it all day long. And it's still pretty nice when I take it down. Like it's not all crimped and like has a weird kink in my hair or whatever. So I really like that, and I wasn't even gonna mention it. Thank you, neighbor, for starting the mower. I wasn't even gonna mention it, but I'm like, you know, I use this every day, and maybe someone else would be interested in just knowing about it, and therefore I'm gonna tell you about it. But I mean, it's that easy. I just whip it in there and I'm good to go. And it is in there. I have to, it doesn't hurt, it doesn't tug, doesn't pull or anything when I take it out. I just have to very intentionally take it out. It doesn't just slip out, kind of like a normal scrunchie. But I really love this. So anyway, it's from Invisibobble, and they call it a Scrunchie, and it comes in different, you know, different colors or patterns or what have you. I believe I got mine at Ulta, and I know they have them at Ulta online. So random favorite. Then I have two foundation favorites. Isn't that insane? I rarely have one. But the first one I already did a review on. It is the Pretty Fresh Hydrating Foundation from ColourPop. I've used this a large portion of this month. I really like it. I have the same complaint I had from my review, is that it just gets kind of messy because of the pump and the plastic cap and whatever. A teeny tiny minor packaging gripe, if you want to put it that way, but I really do like this formula. It's what I'm wearing today. As I said, I already reviewed it, so if you want to know any more detail, you can certainly look at it. But I just have really enjoyed this. This has worked really well for me. By the way, I wear the shade 55N, and they carry all the shades on ColourPop's website, and they carry a portion of the shades. I think there's 29 shades on Ulta. I think there's a total of 42 on the ColourPop site. So just keep that in mind if you're kind of looking on Ulta and you're eyeballing it and you're thinking, that doesn't look quite like me. Maybe the ColourPop site would have the shade you want. And this is $16, by the way. And as I mentioned in my video, you know, if you buy it at Ulta and you've got one of those like $3.50 coupons, you can get it a little cheaper because that does work on ColourPop. Something I love with that foundation, this is like two things together, but this makes me very happy. This is a little holder for a beauty sponge, and I got it from Shop Miss A. So this is the beauty sponge I've been using. This is what I used today with the ColourPop foundation. This is also from Shop Miss A, and it's the Mochi sponge. And this is damp, by the way. But it's just a little holder for your beauty sponge. So you don't have to like lay it on the, I use mine in the bathroom, so you don't have to like lay it on the counter or find a piece of like paper towel to lay it on or a place to lay it. And it's like getting air so it dries out. And what's really kind of funny is that as this dries down, then it starts to shrink and it ends up like going in there. It's the dumbest thing. It's like $1. It is, I think it is in fact $1 at Shop Miss A, but I love this thing and I call it like my twirly, and then that makes me think of like the whirly twirly gumballs or whatever from Elf. But this is a huge favorite from this year. I like the sponge, but I love this little holder. Why aren't there companies making more of these? I mean, there's a lot of beauty sponges out there. You gotta put it somewhere, right? And then I said one more foundation, and actually this is my last thing, and this is kind of a combo deal. So I had mentioned that I liked this foundation, I believe when I hauled it, but I have mentioned it. This is the Makeup Forever Reboot Foundation. I really, really, really like this foundation. I wear this in R230, which maybe is just a hair light for me, but it works fine for what that's worth. It works really well. So I love the foundation, but then this month, my mother wanted to get me a birthday gift. Very sweet of her. And there were some brushes that I was interested in, and I had chosen 2 or 3, and she agreed to get those for me, which was really lovely of her. And this brush and this foundation have become like my best friends. This is from BK Beauty, and it is the 101 angled, I think it's contour brush. I don't know the name, but 101 is what you actually need to know. So there's like a, you know, a flat, I think there's a flat or a rounded top brush like this, but then this one is angled. See that? I mean, you can see it against the darkness in my hair that it's clearly on an angle, and I love the way this just goes across my face and puts on foundation. But what I particularly love is that this is such, when I put this foundation on, it feels on my face like water in a very positive way. So I'll use a pump of this, and it's light to building to medium coverage. So I'll use a pump, put it around, and just like, you know, of course, drag it. That's not elegant, but drag it across my face, and it feels so good. Like, it's a pleasure putting on foundation. And I don't like foundation. Foundation to me, I like wearing it, but putting it on for me is always kind of like, oh, now I have to put the foundation on. I don't love that part. It's so fun. I don't know why, but I actually enjoy, like, oh, it feels so nice. It feels like I'm just dragging this really nice liquid across my face. So I do it once, and then I do another pump and do the same thing, and I absolutely love it. So I loved this foundation anyway, but now that I've kind of put these two together, I genuinely enjoy putting on foundation. How weird is that? Like, it's, you know, it's not that exciting to put on foundation, but I do. It feels a little bit spa-like to me. So yeah, I mean, July has been, from a makeup perspective, it's been a really good month, and I used a lot of things for a good length of time. And so doing a favorites this month made perfect sense. So I hope that was helpful. That is absolutely always my only purpose here. And I'm always so appreciative that you're here, and I hope you like being here, because I love being here. And I will talk to you soon.